Welcome back to Saturday League Kickoff. Shane Flanagan, the Dragons coach. We're going to get him on the line very, very soon. He just dropped out. But while we do that, let's get to some of your text messages. And there's a lot of texts here that about the Spencer Lenu situation, Friday Night Rugby League. Seriously, I can't believe this is even a discussion. 669 says, JT has had his say on TV, tore Spencer to bits, even after he apologised. Good on Spence for giving him a mouthful if he did. Yeah, there'll be some that will think that, but there's probably on the back of this, there's also, what would the NRL do if Lenu said this to a member of the public during the game? He'd cop a suspension, he'd offer an apology, and as for Trent Robinson, naturally he's going to stand by his player. Absolutely, he'll stand by his player. He'll never throw his player under the bus. We know that. But also, the NRL, they probably need to look at it. If they're not seen to be looking at it at all, Webby, that's probably more of a concern.
Yeah, look, as I said, it's only early days, and as Andrew Abdo explained to me this morning, it was they're just, it's early days. They're waiting to hear if there's a complaint from Jonathan Thurston or Channel 9. To be honest, given how upset some of his colleagues were about what happened, again, I'm not saying whether that's right or not or justified or not, but I'd be surprised if Channel 9 as the broadcaster didn't say something to the NRL about it.
Yep. Okay. And Satts and Webby, I can't tell you how satisfying it was to walk out of Suncorp Stadium, a winner amongst 40,000 Broncos fans. One of the best live wins I've seen from the Roosters, Cam said, one of the loyal listeners on SEN.
Was that Nick Politis?
Each and every night. Well, the Dragons are 3 from 5. Comfortable win over the Gold Coast Titans in Wollongong last night. 38 points to 16, like we said. And as first-grade coaches, they're always chirpy the morning after a win, aren't they? So we thought we'd take advantage of that and get Shane Flanagan on Saturday League Kickoff on a Saturday morning. How are you, Flano?
G'day, Satts, Webby. Yep, you're right there. Very happy.
So overall, how happy are you that it did play out the way that it did last night?
Yeah, I thought we were really good, clinical on sometimes, when we got down into their end and, executed our plays really well and, scored some nice tries. I probably think we could have scored maybe one more and probably saved one, but, it's never, footy's never perfect, but I was really happy to get away with a good win.
Flana, congratulations on the victory. Christian Tuipulotu, I know you've been asked about this in the post-match press conference. He just couldn't help himself in the end. He got the cash money out. You're okay with it?
He could. When we win footy games and he's scoring tries, I'm happy with it. But not when you're down 18 points or something like that and he's showing me the money. He's earned himself a new contract, so I thought he might show me the money away, but he brought it back out again last night.
Just seriously though, he's a quality winger. God, he's a chunky winger too.
Yeah, he is. He can finish, and he's really good at the back end of the field. He's powerful, and he gets in there and does a heap of work for us, on our start of our set. So he's had a really good start of the year. Unfortunately, he's just got a bit of a hamstring strain, which we hope is not too bad. Might be only a week or two, and he'll be back out there.
Nice. Now, Lockie Illis, at times this year, Flano, he's answered the call when questioned, and well, he's not even 60 games in his career yet. So as a coach, when you're working and trying to develop a half as quick as possible, is it more trial and error, or do you work more with him psychologically, what he's thinking about at various parts of the game?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, mate. He was out for a fair while, obviously missed a whole year of footy last year, and he's come back from a pretty nasty injury. He's moving well, that's no concern now, though the injury's, well and truly in the back of his mind. But it's a tricky one, halves. Are they natural, ball players, or are they natural organisers? What's their strength? And with Lockie, his strength is, just kicking into corners defensively. If he makes his tackles and kicks well, and then just a little bit of organisational skills comes out in him. That's all we're asking early on, and he's done that at different stages. For a beautiful pass for Dylan Egan to score last night. So he's showing glimpses along the way. We're just probably got to get. At the moment, there's probably 70% of it. His game's on song. We've just got to get that last little bit out of him.
Flano, your attack really got rolling when Leilua came on and started to form that combination with Val Holmes there on the left. Is that a combination we can expect more of as the season goes on?
Yeah, Webby, it's a tricky one because young Dylan Egan can play on both edges. He can play left or right and play in the middle, and he's an emerging talent. But Luch comes on and he's got that ball playing ability, and he's got a bit of a combination there with Val from North Queensland Cowboys. They played together a fair bit, so we're trying to find the right mix at the moment with Luch coming on. Like, he's probably not an 80-minute back rower at the moment, but Dylan Egan's coming on. If we get that right, I think Luch can be so dangerous when he comes on if he doesn't have to play 80.
Tell us about Egan. He's almost developed cult status at the Dragons in a handful of games. I thought against the Storm at the end there, he was fantastic. You didn't look so good though in that Storm game. I've got to say, Flano, the last 20 minutes on the sideline, you looked like you were doing it a bit tough.
Yeah, it remind me of 2016. I just couldn't sit down, and I know what the Storm were like. When you got Pappenhausen and Munster in your team, Harry Grant, you can be leading, and then all of a sudden it just gets taken away from you. So I wasn't real comfortable sitting on the sideline, and but. Yeah, to answer your question about Dylan Egan, he's a great young man. He loves his footy, obviously from Gerringong. He knows his football as well, and he's not the biggest man, he's not the fastest, but he's just committed to everything he does, and his footy smarts get him around the park really well, so that's an advantage he's got. As I said, he's probably a halfback in a back rower's body. As I said, really, really, really smart footy intelligence, and just the start of a long, long career.
And a good combination too between both he and Val Holmes. That's why you signed Val. One, because you know what he can do as a former coach and player when you won a comp, but also two is that he's a strike centre. And when Luciano and Val was asked actually at half time, do you work on that? Did that early pass from Luciano to Val, and just let him use his footwork, because that's his trademark, that left foot step, hasn't it, Flano, over his career? And it was sort of like a bit of a turn back time last night for Val.
Yeah, I was really pleased with Val's game because he came into the game and he carried out of our end really strong. He wanted to get involved, wanted to do that hard stuff. It's not always the fancy stuff for Val. Like, he can carry the ball at the back end of the field because he's a powerful runner, and he has got silky hands and silky touch. And you throw that in with Luciano Leilua's silky hands and touch. Well, you got two players that can ball play and run and have got good footwork. So it's a bit of a dangerous edge for us. But we just got to get the ball to him more often in good field position, which we did last night.
And Flano, Terrell Sloan looks like he's actually enjoying his football, being on the wing and not having to deal with the pressure of fullback. Those bigger positions will come.
He looked
later
like he played
career.
a little bit more physical last night.
Yeah. He looks but he looks happier. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, it is. You hit the nail right in the head, mate. The pressure of playing fullback and organising your defensive line, being on plays offensively. The responsibility of the fullback is, it's one of the biggest jobs on the field. And I agree with you. Just taking that away from him a little bit is, made him be a little bit more relaxed and just go to his game and just do his. It's not a big list of jobs that he's got to do, but just get his job done. And I think you're exactly right, mate. He just showed last night that he's probably a little bit more happier at the moment with less responsibility.
Flano, as a coach, are you starting to see a bit of an evolution in some of the positions? Because years ago that we saw the front rows and back rows needed to be sort of like 6'3", 6'4". Now we're starting to see the Dylan Egan type sort of front rowers where they're a little bit more shorter to the ground, a little bit more mobile. Then your fullbacks, which were big bodies as well, are starting to go the opposite direction as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You don't need that. It'd be nice to have, that we're probably missing just one big bowling ball type of forward that could just carry and is hard to get to the ground. But, we've got some real athletes. The two Couchmans could probably play 80 minutes. Dylan Egan showed last night he can play big minutes in the middle or on the edge. And they're not as big as previous, but, saying that, they just move better these days, and you've got to be able to keep up with time. So if you can't move fast, you're just not going to get your job done.
And finally, Flano, how much are you enjoying coaching this second time around? I always feel sorry for new coaches when they come in. Like, they've got, you've got a limited amount of time to turn a roster around and also win results. How are you enjoying this second stint as a head coach?
It's different, Webby. Obviously, coming into the Dragons, on the back of a fair few years just not having great success. They've win some games here and there, but not consistently. And then coming in last year, obviously the problems around Ben, that he was looking to go elsewhere, and then we had Francis Molo and then Zach Lomax. So I've had a fair bit to deal with, in reshaping the roster. But what I am really enjoying is the people we've just spoken about, the Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart, the Couchmans. It's a bit of a change in our roster at the Dragons at the moment, and I'm really enjoying coaching those young boys, like just cutting their teeth in NRL. It's been really enjoyable to watch them play and watch them grow.
Well, 3 from 5, Flano, after 6 rounds. 38-16 winners over the Titans last night. 4 tries in 11 minutes, which was outstanding. And before we let you go and enjoy your weekend, we've got Azza from DUI on the text line, Flano. He says, can you get Flano to say, show me the money?
I'll show you the money when we play semi-finals. I'll
Good
even
stuff.
jump out in the field and do the sign.
Yeah,
Good
good stuff.
response.
Good stuff. I can see you and Christian Tuipulotu in the first week of the finals when you win, just doing it together. That's
Very good.
outstanding vision.
I'll just do it straight for you too.
Oh, very good.
Hey, Flano, thank you very much for joining us this Saturday morning.
Enjoy your weekend.
Have your say, 1300 01 1170, or send a text 0457 736 736. This is Saturday League Kickoff. Scott Sattler, Andrew Webster. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Panthers.